Here we go.
Who's ready for closing? Who's in on closing? All right, let's talk about closing. Look at the top of the workbook here. It says the big secret. Success is less complicated than most people make it. What does that mean? Success is less complicated than most people make it. Don't we make it hard sometimes? Aren't we harder on ourselves? Don't we mess things up and then beat ourselves up more times than not? And it's like, well, it's hard to be successful. It's really not hard. Let's take a look at it. You have a choice. You can keep your job as a salesperson at the dealership, or you can run your sales career as a business within the dealership. Who wants to just keep a job? All right, and who wants to make it their career? Well, it comes really from a decision. That's it. And, you know, some of us are still looking in the help wanted ads. Some of us are still talking to other dealers and maybe other businesses. And some of us are asking the question, you know, am I in the right business? Some of us are saying, like right now, you know, am I really cut out for this? I believe that every one of us are cut out for the car business. The decision is, am I willing to do what it takes to be successful? That's the real question. It's not, am I cut out for it? It's, am I willing to do what it takes to be successful? You see, because what we did 10 years ago, is that working today? Yes or no? It's not working. Some of it. We talked about the basics earlier. They'll never change. But there are so many things around the basics that have changed. You and I have to make a decision that we're willing to do what it takes to get to the next level. And make a decision that this is our career. You see, a career is something that we develop. A job, let's take a look at job. Job stands for what? You can go ahead and say it out. It's just over broke. That's a job. Just over broke. That's a job. A career is something that we develop. It's about our selling skills. It's about our selling habits, our attitude, our follow-up. So let's look at, are you still trying to figure it out? You know, success leaves clues, so let's take a look at it. People who want to achieve greatness leave a trail for the hungry to follow. So do we need to recreate the wheel? Do we need to recreate the wheel? There's salespeople everywhere right now who are getting it done. So we don't have to go reinvent what we need to do. We need to find out who's getting it done. Who's number one? Who's on top of the hill? Who's getting a result that I want? And all I have to do is follow some of the things that they're doing, and I can get the same what? The same result. So success leaves clues. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to find out what's working, and that's what we need to do. Does that make sense? It's really a lot easier than we make it most of the time. Discovery must come before action. What does that mean? That simply means that we need to figure out what the most successful people did. That's it. We just need to discover what they did. Not just come up with something or a new idea. Everybody wants a new idea. What's the greatest thing going? What's the silver bullet? If I had $1 for every time that a dealer called me and said, what's the silver bullet? What's working right now? It's like I got a pocket full of pills, right? Take this pill, you'll be successful. No problem, I promise. Just take the pill. All right, take a look at it. Number 3, we must master what works before we add our own what? Our own ideas. Look at the bottom of the triangle at the bottom. You have a foundation, then your own ideas. See, first we have to master what works. And we have to master what works. Some of us try what works, because we've seen that it worked, and then we don't master it. You see, successful people do things till they can't get it wrong. Amateurs do things till they get it right, and then they stop. Let me repeat that. Successful people do it till they can't get it wrong. They're in the mastery. Unsuccessful people do it until they get it right. And once they get it right, they're like, well, I got it. I'm good. I'm good. And they're not in the mastery. There's a big difference. Let's look at the success pie. We've already covered it. Which section of the success pie is your greatest strength? I want you to write it in. What are you really good at? Write that in the workbook at the bottom of the page on page 9. Number 2, which area do you need to develop? What do you need to get better at? For the next 2 days, we're going to be talking about strengths and weaknesses. And what you and I want to do is we want to get better at our weaknesses, right? But we also want to polish our strengths. If we just work on our weaknesses and ignore our strengths, what's going to happen? Our strengths are going to become our what? Our weakness. You ever heard anybody say, well, Lord, I forgot more than you know about the car business? You ever heard that one? Well, it's true, because a lot of us have forgot a lot of good things that we have learned. So we have to continue to develop our strengths and our weaknesses. Look at page 10, the bigger secret. Here's a few questions. Is this true or false? Time is money. Is that true or false? What, is it? It's actually a myth. Those who work longest and hardest, are they always the one with all the money? Of course not. The key is to maximize the amount of money for each hour that you've invested. In other words, all of us in here already work long and hard, don't we? What are we doing when we're at work? The average salesperson in our country right now, how many hours do you think that they work a day? Not how many hours are they at the dealership? How many hours do they work? Who knows what the average is?
3, 4.
It's 3 hours. That's the average. 3, 4, you could say that. So what are we doing the rest of the time? Hanging out, waiting, in the huddle. Does Bill Gates have to work today to earn money? Does Bill Gates have to work to make money today? No. How come? He already made it. But he is still working, right? But he doesn't have to. Why not? How come? It's because his systems and his people are already working for him. His previous efforts have already created a stream of income for today. He is at work today, earning tomorrow's dollar. Now, if you're a business within the business, if you're setting up your own business at the dealership, if it's your career, the work that you're doing today will pay you tomorrow. You know, how would you like to get to a point where money's chasing you? You don't have to chase money. You know, that repeat and that referral business that a lot of us think is just a pie in the sky? You can get that kind. I want you to write this down. MSI, right at the bottom of the page. MSI. That stands for multiple sources of income. That's what we need. Multiple sources of income. We're revenue generators is what we are. But we have to have multiple sources. We've got to have customers from our owner base. We have to have customers that are B-backs. We have to have fresh ups. We have to have referrals. We need multiple sources of income. If you're not working your database, if you're not working your customers, somebody else is. Somebody's going to come up to your database, hook a pipe up, and suck all of your customers out of your database if you're not working them. They're going to buy somewhere else. Because today, is there even brand loyalty? Is there? Of course not. And I'll tell you a quick story to speaking of multiple sources of income and doing your follow-up. I know a guy who would never drive anything but a Ford his entire life. Calls me up about 6 months ago. He's like 69 years old. Would only drive a Ford, Ed. Only a Ford. Calls me up and says, I'm at the Toyota dealership. I was about to fall down right where I was standing. I was like, what are you doing there? He said, I'm looking at that new Tundra truck. What do you think about it? You know, because he calls because I'm in the car business. What do you think about that truck? I So is there brand loyalty even these days? There's no loyalty. We gotta work our own system. So let's take a look. The bigger secret. How can people put 10% down on a house and make 200% return in 1 year? Well, they can't right now, can they? How can they do that though? Because of the equity. It's leverage, right? So the bigger secret is tapping into our power of leverage. I want you to write that in. The bigger secret is tapping into the power of leverage. We have to leverage ourselves, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. How can you tap into leverage? Number one, you can set a goal to increase your appointment business by 10% per month. Number two, you can set a goal to become a by appointment only sales professional. I know a dealership right now, that works off of 97% appointments. That means they get 3% fresh ups. That's crazy, huh? There's no fresh ups. 97% by appointment only. Set a goal to become by appointment only. Number three, develop the skills, the selling skills necessary to close 80-90% of your appointments. Now, I'm not talking about appointments from your BDC. This is for you personally. If some of you have a business development center or a CDC, a customer development center, or leads that your dealer is purchasing and buying and bringing you traffic, that's separate. That's a bonus for you. Those are more like fresh ups to you, right? Because it's not an appointment that you set. I'm talking about your appointments that you set with your customers. A lot of us have become dependent on the business development centers. A lot of us have become dependent on walk-in traffic, right? So we need to start developing our own business. Now, what's next? Number one, share your success with another hungry, motivated person. Number two, show other people how to succeed and earn 1% of their results. Number three, repeat it. That's what successful businesses do. So how can we take that to our dealership for ourselves since we're running our own business inside the dealership? How can we do that for ourselves? The problem is that many people jump at the next chance to become a manager. They want to be a manager in the car business. That's all they want to do. They never dial in to their follow-up, their multiple sources of income. They're just focused on wanting to be a manager. You can make more money as a salesperson than any manager in your store. All you have to do is leverage, just like what we talked about there. Look at page 11. The biggest secret. Fear is based in myth. M-Y-T-H. Confidence is based in truth. I can't do this. This sounds like pie in the sky. I can't do it. Well, that's a myth. Truth is you can do anything. How do we know that we can do anything? The stuff that we've talked about so far this morning, how do we know that we can do that at our dealership? By going out and working on it. But the proof is in the pudding, right? There's people that have far less resources and who have way less than you and I have. They don't even have the tools that have done it. We've seen it happen in the car business over and over. How many of you seen someone that came in the car business, never sold a car in their life, or maybe don't even have an education, and they go straight to the top and they make all the money? How many of you have seen that? We see it over and over and over again. So it's a myth. The truth is anybody can do it. It can't be done in my market. People will say that over and over. As I travel around the country, I hear it all the time. Well, we can't do that in our market. It won't work. 2 years ago, we opened up a dealership in Florida, and they said, well, we've been selling 20, 30 cars a month, every month, and it's different here. This is not Charlotte because I lived in Charlotte and I worked in the Charlotte market. They said, we can't do it down here in Lakeland, Florida. Well, the dealership that was selling 20 to 30 cars a month actually became the #1 Suzuki dealership within 5 months. And their record is 300 plus Suzukis, brand new Suzukis. Is that a lot of Suzukis? I didn't say Hondas. I didn't say Toyotas. Suzukis. So it can be done in any market. But can it be done if we don't have a new strategy? No, it's not, because it's all about the strategy. Sales, we've already done it in tough markets and tougher products. We already know that. Here's another myth. I don't have the time. I'll lose money trying. What's the truth? Time is not money, remember? Leverage your time with the best activity. Salespeople who work with the right customers close 50 to 90% of their deals in the same amount of time. Hardworking people are waiting for an up. I can close blank sales a month no matter what I do. No matter what I do, I'm stuck at 6. No matter what I'm doing, I'm stuck at 10. Listen, if you're selling 6 cars a month, you got 6 car habits. If you sell 20 cars a month, you got 20 car habits. If you sell 15 cars a month, guess what kind of habits you have? 15 car habits. If you go to work inside the dealership and you stand around worrying about what's going to happen, you have worry habits. You have worry habits. If you sell 5 cars a month, you got 5 car habits. Remember, your habits determine your outcome. Look at the next one. It says, well, here's the proof of how you can do it, and you can break out of your current thinking and break out of your current level in sales. Salespeople who work with the right customers close 50 to 90%. How about this? In your life, if your life depended on it, could you sell 1 more car this month? Seriously. If your life depended on it. Of course, we can all find somewhere to get a deal. We just need to use that leverage again. Not everyone I meet is a buyer. Is that a myth? That's a myth. Everybody is a buyer. And listen, you'll never prove me otherwise. I believe every single customer that walks through that door is a buyer. Period. Does that mean that I get to close them all and get a commission voucher on every single one of them? Of course not. But this belief thing is everything. You know, Henry Ford once said that if you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe that you can't, you're right. Either way, you'll be right. So this belief thing is everything. And if we don't believe that they can buy, do they know that? Does the customer know it? Do they sense it? That we don't think they can buy? Yes or no? So are they looking for ways not to buy at that point? Probably. Or they're trying to prove to us that they can, and we're trying to prove to them that they can't, or vice versa, right? Well, I'm not going to pre-qualify anybody. I believe everybody can buy. I believe that every single customer that comes through that door is going to get a car and they're going to get a car from me. I believe that every single customer that comes in that dealership that walks through that door, if they buy from anywhere else, they're making the biggest mistake in their life. And if you have that kind of belief, can you sell an extra car a week, yes or no? Yes. All right, well, there's 4 or 5 cars right there. Just on belief. Not everyone I meet is a buyer. Myth. Missing your goal is a bad thing. Is that a myth or is that the truth? That's a myth. Having a goal and not working to achieve it is a bad thing. You see, the people who fail the most are the most successful people. Failure is not a person. Failure is an act. People aren't failures. God don't make junk, period. We're not failures. Failure is an act. Now, it's the one who keeps getting up. Keeps getting up. Failures are stepping stones. I needed to fail so I can get to the next step. If you're not where you want to be right now in life, in business, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the future. The past does not equal the future. It's just not so. That's false. All right, look at the next one. Missing your goal is a bad thing? No. Not working to achieve it is a bad thing. If you set a goal to sell 22 cars a month and you sell 20 cars or 18 cars and you make a bunch of money doing it, is that a good month or a bad month? It's a good month because you worked hard to achieve your goal. Even if you fell short, you'll just set another goal.